I feel like I'm just being a hater, but now I feel like it's too hot out. Like, too much direct sun. Well, the only reason I'm saying that is because it's hot and I'm getting hit with allergies. If it was just hot, I would not freaking mind. But no, plan for tonight with legs, or really just more so this afternoon for legs, lifting a little earlier. Go bananas. I'm talking quad focused, a little bit of hamstrings to start. I would not want to do quads without a little hamstrings, at least. And I don't mean like, 6, 7 working sets. I mean, maybe even just like 2 or 3. Probably seated curls, maybe some laying curls, just to give them some activation. Because when I'm sitting on that hip press in the corner, I get so much hamstring involved. And it's so cool because it's like, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a weird hip hinging aspect of the press, but no glutes, which is awesome. I don't need my dump truck to get any larger. Not that I'd say it's super large anyway, but for me, at least with the classic look, I want thicker trunks of legs, kind of branching out. So you'd almost want your torso and kind of your hip and waistline to really, kind of siphon down, right, if you catch my drift. And that's why that hip press is sweet, because I'm getting a lot of hamstrings and quads, even though it is, a quad bias kind of press with no glutes, which is absolutely perfect. No glutes and no lower back involvement, at least not much, So that's going to be the primary movement, with some I'm going to add a little extra and do some leg extensions, almost acting like a pre-exhaust before the leg press, just because if I go too heavy, I'm probably just going to hurt myself or tweak something. Like I've only done the one set last leg day, so it's a little much to ask to jump straight from, I think that was 9 plates to 12 or something, just from one lift. So I'll kind of ease into it. And then one aspect that you should look into if you start to get decently strong, to the point where you got to kind of be careful with how you exert yourself, or you're going to hurt. Yeah, exert yourself so you don't hurt yourself. And then a pre-exhaust, pretty solid approach, because I could be sitting on leg press and the weight could feel like it's a million freaking pounds, but it can only be 6 plates, because I just did like a set to maybe nearing or kind of approaching failure on the seated leg extension. I'm uncaffeinated yet, so once that kicks in, I'll be in my peak alertness sort of state. But yeah, so that'll be good. I'll probably dabble with the hip press as the main pressing movement, and then I think I want to finish with pendulums. Yeah, the pendulums are nice. And yeah, squats are so freaking cool, but I think I need to chill a little bit and bias more leg pressing. But I guess that's kind of how I was doing it before, because I do only like one big set of squats and then move on to leg press or hacks or pendulums or whatever. I guess I'll just have to see. But if I do too much back-loaded, either like Smith or barbell, I end up getting so much lower back fatigue and pumped. It's taken away from the look. Like I'm saying, I want my kind of waistline to stay trim. If my lower back, you basically have 2 slabs of beef, your erectors, that's kind of responsible for like your deadlifting kind of movements, stuff like that. If those got no extra development, but my lats grew, my traps grew, my arms grew, it would add to the appeal and the kind of kind of classic look of that sort of like wide up top, skinnier in the center kind of look. Because it's it's like it's like thickening up your obliques, your side abs. There's a point of development, and then there's a point of overdevelopment, where now it's like it's taken away from that kind of look, if you know what I'm saying there. But I think no more alluding to it. Let's just get in there and get started. The construction that's been going on right here has it's made this road kind of rough, to the point where sometimes I'll just drive all the way around town to get through it. But looks like it's nearing completion. Well, kind of nearing. There's like a big ass train track bridge they're replacing. It's all sorts of stuff. But let's just stay focused on, building up the one thing that freaking counts. These two quads, these two freaking, Thanksgiving turkeys on either side of me. So I think no more talking about it. Let's just get in there and make it happen. Okay, today is going to be a goddamn press-a-thon. So I've been bouncing around the laying seated curl as well as the leg extension, get my quads warm, going back and forth between like a few sets over there. I mean, just feelers, getting exposed to some weight. And then, 6, 7, 8, 9, now 10 plates. This will be a good heavy one. Not so heavy that I won't be able to get a good set of like minimum 8 reps, maybe 10. Obviously I want to aim for 50, but you know what I'm saying. So, it's so probably a few here with this weight. And then once I feel like I have to back off, I might even drop 3 plates and then do some leg extensions pre-exhausting. So, 10, 15, 20 reps maybe on the leg extension. Then immediately run over and burn out with some of this leg press. So this is going to be my home for the next however many sets necessary. And I can almost guarantee that within, well, for you it might just be a few minutes, but for me it might be 30, 40-ish minutes. I should be approaching drenched. So let's make this shit happen. Okay. One more of those. Same weight, same everything. Okay. One more. Okay. Okay. All right, I lied. Actually, I think I can do 2 more at this weight and then move on. Whew. Ooh. Oh. All right. Now, this next one will be my last set here. Boy. But, yeesh. Yeah, I really brought it for that last one. I had like this Attack on Titan edit playing full blast on the speaker. Now we got to match that energy at least for this next one. So I'm going to take a few minutes. And pretty constant question, how long are my rest periods? Long enough. And what I mean by that is not just like do whatever. I'm saying long enough that I can kind of catch my breath, relax a little, get my heart rate back down to workout normal. Because my regular walk around normal is probably down here. My cardio normal is like maybe here. My mid-set peak is probably up freaking here. And then my kind of between sets is like a bit higher than baseline. So I want to get down to that baseline, which, if you think about it, would just kind of mean getting to a point where I'm not overloading an oxygen debt that I've built up with my blood, you know? So if you're really huffing, you're not recovered yet. Once you get back to regular normal, then you're pretty much there. And really, I want to get to a point where I'm ready to do another set and not wait much longer than that. Because if I sit here for 20 minutes between sets, I'm gonna lose. I'm not even gonna get pumped. I'm gonna maybe get slightly pumped every set and then lose it in those 20. You know, I'm not sitting here trying to hit a 5x5. I'm trying to hit a 5 by failure. You know, that's reasonably as quick as I can. You know, there's no reason to dilly-dally. Once you're ready, you're ready. Go nuts. So I'm gonna sit here for another second and try to make this one the craziest one of all, and then move on. And honestly, I thought I was gonna do pendulums. This might just be my fill for pressing for today. We'll see, but I gotta do it to find out. Oh, okay, I gotta make that a rest pause. That's it. All right. Oh, let's do some leg extensions. Oh, I'm leaving this weight for next time. God damn. Okay, nothing too wild now. I think honestly that was enough pressing. So let's move on to some extending. And those were pretty controlled. I mean, I think it was the fourth set that kind of went a little quicker paced. But the rest of them were a pretty slow negative. Because with the leg press, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Drop the weight, bounce it off the safety, then press it up again? I mean, that's stupid, you know? So instead of something silly like that, more controlled eccentrics, minimal momentum usage, especially because the weight gets heavier as you do the rep. You can't even build up a lot of momentum. So plan now, let's just pump out some leg extensions, try to get as much blood into my quads as possible. So these first few, double leg, moderate weight, kind of quick, but I want to make sure that at the top of every rep, I have just an extra oomph. And it's not much. I mean, enough that you can't even really see it when you watch somebody do reps like that. But enough where instead of just floating and taking it easy on the top and then kind of catching the weight and bouncing like a trampoline, it's more so like I'm trying to smush somebody against the wall with a truck, right? You don't drive up quick and then take your foot off the gas right when they're at the wall and then reverse and do the same thing again. You got full force all the way up to the wall and then an extra little smush. You know, not sure if that was the first analogy that came to mind. Not that I've ever done that, but you get the gist, right? More damage inducing in both cases. So let's get nuts here. All right. I really need to get a seatbelt for this. That's my next chore. There we go. Alright, I lied. That kind of sucks. Let's do some single leg alternating instead of that. Oh, that was alright, but I know these next ones will feel better. Single leg alternating for this one. And this might be it, if it's a good enough set. Let's get it. Okay. Oh my God. Oh. Let's freaking roll. Oh my God. Okay. So mind you, I did not show the warm-up phase, which is like 20 minutes. Right, I'm talking leg extensions, leg curls, some calf raises. I mean, you might not think it, but any kind of press, leg-wise, that you're doing like a hefty amount of weight, you know, odds are you're not putting all that force purely through your heels, and you've got a good chunk of it going through your toes. Not all, but, you know, a bit. Oh, there's literally hundreds of baby geese. Nice. But let's get back on topic. What I'm saying is, you know, if I'm squatting, I mean, I'll have times where, and this is kind of, you know, on me for not sitting back a little more, but I'll have times where my heels come off the ground a touch because I let myself lean forward a little bit. And that may as well be the bottom of a calf raise with potentially upwards of like 500 pounds. You know, that's a lot of force to go through your calves without having warmed them up. You know, so something to consider, right? It's just like how before I do any kind of heavy chest press, I'm rotator cuff warm up, triceps, biceps, forearms, even some back, because that's going to kind of keep me stable, and obviously chest, right? I want to make sure everything involved is warm ready, and fresh enough to go heavy, right? The only reason I went a little extra heavy on those hip presses today was because I didn't really do any working hamstring sets, but I did sit there for, maybe 4 or 5 kind of rounds of leg extensions, seated leg curls, and calf raises, all kind of increasing in weight gradually just to get my legs nice and warm. I'm not really one to sit and do a lot of, like hip rotation and, hip flexor warm-ups before pressing. I've never really noticed a problem for me not doing that, like where you really sit and stretch and loosen up. But I do feel, right, every muscle that's going to be involved with whatever movement I'm doing, I want them to be ready, right? I want them to fire at full freaking capacity. And half of that is something that is not physical, but is also mental, right? Your freaking mind. Honestly, that 4th set of leg press, that was really good. I want all my sets to be like that, where like I just get this, it's not anxiety because I'm not anxious, but I'm just like, it's like you're just antsy, like I gotta go, come on. It's like you're a damn, it's like you're a racehorse, with your jockey on top of you, and you're getting ready for just to hear the freaking horns. And you launch off like a freaking rocket. That's what not every set has to be like that. I'm not going to sit behind the adductor machine at a Planet Fitness and start yelling at myself like, come on, and then jump on it and start slamming shit around. But for real hefty, not even always compound movements, but at least ones where you're loading a good amount of weight safely, no reason to hold back. And by hold back, I just mean take the gas off, take the pressure off, and ease up in any capacity. This guy appears to be not driving. But that's what I'm trying to get at, because if I've got a crazy set of something and I do 3-4 reps and then I back off, I'm like, what am I doing? I did nothing. This is one aspect of kind of, I don't want to say science-based training, but just kind of an analogy of what is really happening during a set that I really like. It's thinking that, only the last few reps when you're really in that failure range are where shit's actually going to go down. And of course I don't think that that's completely the case. If I came to the gym every day and I did every set, with some with heavy weight, but with only 5 reps in reserve, I don't think I would shrink. I think I would probably stay the same. I'd be moving around the same weight. But do I think I'd really be pushing myself to progress? Not exactly, right? If you only do what you're capable of, then where's the force that's gonna, actually propel you forward to do things that you're not used to doing? So the idea is, let's say you're doing a set of bench, right? Maybe let's just say machine press, so that you get a bit more constant tension. Let's say dumbbell bench. Right? Dumbbell. Honestly, if I had to pick one, I think I used to say barbell incline. I think dumbbell incline would be the movement, because at the top, well, now I'm talking about chest, but at the top, if you're holding 2 dumbbells, you're not really resting. You're still flexing your chest to keep them from falling out to your sides. So it's really constant tension throughout. So if I can only do one, that would be it, at least in terms of a chest press. But let's say you've warmed up. You're a guy who can do 100-pound dumbbells for 12. So maybe 13 if you got a good night's rest, but 12 is about your normal failure range when you're really bringing, right? So let's say you come in, you warm up, you're fresh, you've been doing the cables, your chest is warm, maybe even have a little bit of a chest pump from doing some cable flies to, warm yourself up, get yourself firing right. You're ready. You warm up, you grab the 50s, you grab the 70s, you grab the 85s, maybe even do a few reps with the 90s just to make sure you're good. But you're about to do a working set with the 100s, right? So if you throw those up, 5 reps, easy. And by easy, I mean guaranteed. If somebody told me, Sam, life or death. You get to warm up, but if you can't do the 150s for 5, that's it. I would not be worried, right? I might make sure, I don't drop them or something, but I know I can do that. That's well within my ability, Now, if someone said, same situation, but 20, and I'm talking like, full, not just like down here, like I mean a full rep where they kind of at least almost touch, I'm not saying like I completely straighten my arms, but I get up to a top rep. If someone said 20, whoa, that'd be a little much, so that's where I'm really bringing it, and I've got to push it to the point where the only thing stopping me from doing another rep is the fact that I'm just physically incapable, so what I'm getting at is those 5 reps. I think it's not a bad idea to look at it as though all they're doing is, gradually wearing you down to the point where now the next 5 are going to be a bit harder, right? Let's say we're looking at those next 5 reps. So really, let's just say those next 3, just to, actually no, it'd be those next 2, right? Those next 2 are getting a little trickier, but you can still do them. 7, you got that easy. Right, so now it's the last 5 reps of the set, and this is a number that gets that I've seen brought up, but it could be any. You could say the last 4, the last 2, the last 3, whatever. But it's the last few where you're approaching failure, right? You do another 1, you do another 2, you do another 3, and you're like, okay, whew, all right. And it's almost like you have a second set inside of that first one, because of course you had to get yourself amped up, like, all right, let's make this shit happen. You throw the dumbbells up, you do those first 8, which you can do for sure. And then you almost have this second level of kind of, telling yourself to bring it, because those 8 were totally doable. And now it's those last few reps where you're really hitting failure. That's the test, right? That's the test of just how hard you can really push it. And I think at least for heavier working sets, if you make those last ones happen, especially the ones that are the hardest, you're setting yourself up for success in more ways than one. Because for one, that set is just going to be better. I feel as though if every set of those leg presses, if I, let's say I did 7 reps instead of whatever I could get, like 10 or 9, or I guess the last one was 7, but that's a little different because I, worked my way up to that. But let's say every one of those sets, I left 3 reps in the tank. I don't think it would have been as good of a lift. And on a more just like, self-oriented kind of level, now I'm the guy who has to leave reps in the tank because I don't want to do them. So, come a day where I'm not really feeling it. So let's say, my recovery might have been a little scrappy or just whatever, maybe I'm not in a good headspace. So now the odds are against me because I'm just, my limit isn't now that 10, which I can do when I feel good. Now it's like 8, right? Like, I'm still bringing it, but that's just as much as I could do on that day if I'm just a little off, maybe a little dehydrated or something. So now if I'm still aiming for that, leave 3 reps in the tank, now I'm still only going to like 4 reps, So adjust accordingly. I'd probably just do lighter weight for, 10 or something. But, it's that threshold of intensity where from beginning of the set to the end, right, the intensity starts at 0 for the most part and scales up to 100. So for at least a good chunk of your real working heavier sets and even lighter squeezing ones where the hard part isn't maybe the weight, it's just the fact that it's starting to burn and it's just not going to move, I want to bring it. And I think the guys who do bring it are better off. They will make better gains, they will make better progress, and they'll have more fun doing it because their bar of effort, their bar of intensity is higher than everybody else's. So that means even on an off day, they're going to be training harder than everybody else, even if they had, everything going for them, like sleep, hydration, time. They didn't have to rush a workout. Maybe they had to wake up early the night before or the day before, whatever, So the guy who can bring it, he's ready. He's ready to make some serious gains, and he will continue to do so. It's a calm sea does not make a skilled sailor. Keep that in freaking mind, right? So an easy set ain't gonna make a good lifter. Now that's a shirt. Now that is a back of the shirt quote. Yeah, that's funny. Maybe we'll see that. I've been thinking about what kind of back of the shirt quotes to do, because sometimes they seem a little cheesy, but I actually like that one. I like that one. Yeah, maybe I'll save this and come back to it later. But yeah, that was good. So I think I brought it. And I'm kind of in a state of trying to continue to bring it right now, because I mean I was really lowering my my bar per se for the quad intensity over that whole dieting phase, half because it's just kind of the nature of dieting to chill out. You know, I don't want to rip my quads or like strain anything just because I'm not, you know, if I'm only eating like half the amount of food I'm eating now, the recoverability is a bit more, it's a bit lower. You know, dieting down to decently lean is not conducive with squatting crazy and doing crazy heavy leg press. And the fact that I had to diet for so long, it kind of threw off my strength game in my lower body. So that's one thing that's nice, because leg day only 4 days ago, even doing 9 plates felt absolutely nuts. But today, 10 plates for 5 sets, like, it was still hard, of course, but much more manageable. So I want to build up my quad strength back to peak and then continue to go nuts. So plan for next leg day is definitely some kind of squat, I think. I'm not going to squat every leg day because I think it's too much, but I can't stop squatting. I love it too much. It's too cool. So squats are on the agenda for next leg day. Whatever the weight ends up being doesn't necessarily matter. I just want to make sure it's a good amount of weight for whatever my strength level is that day, right? And go from freaking there. So plan now is go home, get some grub, get this freaking soaked shirt off me, and get ready for chest tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited for some chest. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to be pumped. That's a guarantee. But how exactly I will get there, I mean, shit, man. Let the universe decide. I've got now until basically 24 hours from now to be what's the word? Influenced to potentially decide to maybe change it up, or, you know, just work with what I know sticks. So that'll be my plan until then. And I want to make sure I'm carved up at the wazoo. So I'm gonna, first things first, I'm gonna get some minute rice in the microwave and chow down on 200 grams worth with a little bit of Sweet Baby Ray's creamy buffalo sauce. That is, yeah, if I had to pick one, that's my favorite right there. Definitely not diet friendly. Definitely not diet friendly. This isn't no G. Hughes barbecue. I'm talking, this is like 12 grams of fat per serving. And I'm probably using like 3 or 4 servings every time I use it. So if you need some extra calories, maybe back off from the barbecue sauce where it just has a little bit of extra sugars and things, and go for something a little richer. Because an extra, 100, 200 calories per meal, that adds up. And speaking of per meal, I think we need a full day of eating. I think we need a full day of eating soon. I'm gonna start meal prepping too. I gotta get a little more consistent meal intake going forward if I want to get back to nasty size. So I'll keep you updated, that's for sure. We always got our little daily check-ins. So that's all I got. I will see you tomorrow.